Greetings, I'm Epiktek, and this is Epiktek. Welcome back. I have a couple of things to tell you all about. One is a correction, and one is just some updates. For example, you'll notice I'm standing on some crates. Let's take a look at those first. So inside these crates, I have a whole bunch of random stuff that I'm just going to go ahead and grab. I went and did a whole bunch of exploring. Let's take a look at the atlas. I expanded the area around my home by quite a bit. I actually found some of the stuff that I was looking for. Not everything, but at least a couple of things, which is good. And I found a couple of other villages. So this one I call Cliffside Village, this one I call Foreston, and this one I call Water Village. One of them, I think it was Foreston, actually, could have been Water Village. I can't remember. Actually had another one of these immersive engineering houses, and I stole everything because that's what I do. Gimme. All right. So I'm going to carry those with me for now. Also, thank you very much to Karadef, who had this comment to say. I was a little bit confused when I actually got momentum instead of lightweight when I put cobalt on. And that's because apparently, let's go ahead and pop this on here. Apparently the plates on a hammer, this here and this here, are considered part of the head, not as an extra. So, and there's a way to figure this out too. The head gives momentum, the binding and the rod give light weight. And that's momentum and light weight. And here we can see that the large plates give momentum. So, when we're looking at, what these things contribute, we need to be looking at the head, not at the extra. Now, momentum doesn't stack. When I look at my hammer, it doesn't have momentum 2 or 3. It just has momentum. So we'll have to play with that later. For now, it's a perfectly good working hammer, and I'm going to keep it around. I'm going to use it. But later on, I want to play with what other options. And some of you have given me some good ideas, both on the Discord server, as well as in the comments for other things that I can add to it and whatnot. And they're great ideas. So we'll have to choose, but we'll do that later. For now, we have some other things to work on. The number one first thing we're going to do is get ourselves a sag mill, because we have a whole bunch of ores. I did some mining, I did a whole bunch of stuff, and we've got a lot to process. And some of this, the best way to process it is through the sag mill. Really most of it. I think maybe the Tinker's Construct stuff, there really isn't a huge advantage. Looks like the arc furnace will give slag. If we slip through this, this is 2 ingots. Alloy smelter. The sag mill will give us 2 ingots worth as well as netherrack. And if you use these grinding balls, you can actually increase the main output even further. So still, as long as you're using a grinding ball, your best bet is the sag mill. So gonna have to go with that. I mean, nothing else gives quite as much. So let's get a sag mill going. So there are 3 different kinds of sag mills. Ignore these ones. These are decoration. I don't know why they're even in the mod. But if we look at these, we've got the simple sag mill, then we've got the sag mill, and then we've got the enhanced sag mill. Now, the enhanced sag mill is going to require some vibrant bimetal gears, which is going to take some processing to get to. The regular sag mill is going to require some energized, same general principle. We're not going to be able to get those right away. So we're going to have to start with a regular sag mill. Let's take a quick look. I know I had a couple of extra, yeah, not high-end gears. I just have the regular infinity bimetal gears, which is what we need for, yeah, we need those as a step in between, and that's just not going to happen. So let's take a look at this. So we've got the two different types of stone gears. We've got this one from Tesla Core, which is cobblestone and sticks. That's easy. Or we've got the Ender IO ones, which is cobblestone and sticks. Gonna say that we need some cobblestone and sticks. What do you think? And there we go. Take two of those puppies. Then we're going to need a piston, some iron ingots, some flint, and a simple machine chassis. Now, this is where things get a little less than simple, because grains of infinity can only be gathered in one way: by lighting bedrock on fire. So let's get into that. The rest shouldn't be a problem. Oh, geologically mechanical. Very nice. So let's get down to bedrock. What's going to be our best way to get to bedrock? We could start here. Sounds great. Well, this seems like a good enough place to start. Uh-oh. We found something interesting. We found an underground cavern. Let me just put up a few torches on the way up here, because I don't like it to all be dark like that. And let's go take a look around. Never know when you're going to find diamonds or something, right? Or lava. Ooh, this is big. And nothing particularly exciting. There we go. And I'm just going to go ahead and do like this the rest of the way down. And here we go. We are at bedrock. So let's clear out a pretty decent sized area. And now let's light it all on fire. Now, as this goes out, it's going to generate these grains of infinity. And you hear that sound? That's what you hear whenever one of them gets created. Let's get over there and grab them. You just have to kind of be careful when collecting them. Now, later on, we're going to automate this whole process. But for now, it's just going to be easier to do this. Okay. All right, I ended up with a total of 13. So let's go ahead and get headed back. Okay. So a simple machine chassis is going to require a whole bunch of iron ingots and some iron bars as well. Let's grab a stack of those. I think I have some spare iron bars. Yes, I do. So, simple machine chassis will take... I know I'm going to need one more of those, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab another one. Need a piston and... oh, some flint. I've got flint around here somewhere, don't I? I do. Not a lot. It's okay. And now we have a sag mill. Unfortunately, while we do have a sag mill now, we do not have any way to power it. So that's the next step. Now, if we go and look in here and we look at generators, we're going to find a whole bunch of different options. There's combustion generators that burn liquid fuel and require a coolant. Sounds too complicated. The Stirling generator basically runs on anything the furnace will run on. Same with Extra Utilities, has a whole bunch of different kinds of generators. The survival generator is the simplest one. You can make it pretty much anywhere with the basic materials, and you can use anything the furnace will run on. The furnace generator is just basically a step up from that. Then there are some other ones. Some completely ridiculous ones, like the slimy generator that runs on slime, the halitosis generator that runs on dragon's breath, the explosive generator, which you do not want to get anywhere close to, the pink generator that will run on anything pink, and the culinary generator that will run on food. This is actually the one that we're going to use because, well, we have lots of ways of making food anyway, so why not, right? So in order to make a culinary generator, we're going to need a furnace generator, which requires a machine block and a furnace, and yeah, we'll just kind of work our way through that. Let's see, we can do carrots, potatoes, or wheat, and pretty much any cooked meat. And now we have a culinary generator. So if we pop this right there, we can put in any kind of food there and it'll start generating power. Well, we've got all kinds of food. Let's take a look at some of the options here. I'm going to grab some of the high-end foods. Let's grab something kind of low-end just to see the difference. So if you're in this interface and you hover over any kind of food, it's going to tell you what you're going to get. So this is going to generate a total of 19,000 RF. This will generate 65,000 RF. And this will generate 101,000 RF. I think we should start with this one. What do you think? So I'm just going to pop one of those guys in there. And let's see. That's going to, yeah, it's already filling up pretty quick. So let's see what we can process in this sag mill. Diamond ore. Two diamonds. Now keep in mind, this is the lowest end version of this machine. Let's throw in a bit of iron ore. And 2 iron dust, which can be melted or cooked to make iron ingots or, you know, in there. Oh, good grief, this thing is filling up. I think we need to make the next step. So in order to make the next version of the sag mill, we're going to need to make these energized bimetal gears, which means we're going to need energetic alloy. Energetic alloy is going to require an alloy smelter. Time to make one of those. That is going to require another simple machine chassis, a couple more stone gears, and a bunch of furnaces. Shouldn't be a problem. There we go. Simple alloy smelter. Now these two machines form the core of Ender.io. The alloy smelter can only be used to make alloys. But if we can get that upgraded... the simple alloy smelter can only be used to make Ender.io alloys. Well, actually other kinds of alloys as well. However, the full alloy smelter and the enhanced alloy smelter can actually go beyond that and also be used as a furnace, which is really handy. But for right now, what we need are these energized bimetal gears. We want 4 of them so we can get past the simple version. So we need to be able to take some gold, glowstone, and redstone and put it together. So let's grab a little bit of each one of those. Let's just make a few of these. I actually don't mind making quite a few of these because we'll end up using them pretty quickly and a lot. Oh, I keep forgetting how slow the simple versions are. There we go. About time. So, let's go make ourselves a couple of bimetal gears. And since they were so kindly to give me a couple of these infinity bimetal gears in the in dungeon chests and that kind of thing, might as well use them. So that means I can only make one. Hurry up. Hooray. So with an industrial machine chassis, oh right, an industrial machine chassis requires a simple machine chassis and an alloy smelter with industrial powder coating, which requires quartz powder, organic black dye, organic green dye, and lapis lazuli powder. Whew. Okay, we can do that. Let's start with some lapis. And we need some quartz. And then we need coal powder and some kind of slime ball. Here, actually, let's grab a little bit of coal ore here. That'll give us a little bit of coal powder. So we need 6 total. Ooh, and we got some sulfur dust. Excellent. I'll show you what that's for in a second. So let's put some of that and some of that in there. That should make us the organic black dye. Then we need organic green dye, which is clippings and trimmings. Okay. Which I think is going to require us to make some clippers. Is that how that works? I can't remember. That's just grass. That's different. How do we make clippings and trimmings? Ah, by running things through the sag mill. Including grass. Good. Go. Okay. Please make me things I want. Destroy something beautiful. I love it. Hooray. I'd forgotten how complicated that recipe is. All right. Sag mill, industrial chassis, industrial coating powder. Oh, I still need the quartz powder. I haven't ground that down yet. Hooray. Another quartz dust. Sag mill, industrial powder. Go. Give me 6 of those. Thank you. Now we need to take a simple machine chassis. And then we need to go take that and run it through here with one of these. And we're actually going to need to make more of that. As a matter of fact, somehow I ended up with an extra one. That's okay. Gonna end up needing it. There we go. Oh. I completed the challenge, the culmination. I'm going to put these Enderios over here. By the way, they're not actually healthy. It contains 253 grams of sugar, 53 grams of fat, 394 grams of ender dust. Side effects of ender dust include nausea, dizziness, confusion, and random teleporting. Now, we're going to take this puppy, and we should be able to make a sag mill, like a full sag mill, like that. And the full sag mill takes a capacitor, which we will make in a moment. I also wouldn't mind making an upgraded alloy smelter. So let's do that too. And now we have an upgraded alloy smelter. Now to get the next level up, we need to go to vibrant. And vibrant is energetic plus an ender pearl, which we actually could do pretty quickly, but let's wait on that just a little bit because I want to work on some other things. Now, neither of these guys will function without having, just pop that in there. Neither of these will function without having a capacitor. Now, a capacitor, the basic capacitor is copper, 2 grains of infinity, and gold nuggets. Totally simple, easy to do. Nobody's going to have a problem with that. But I just happen to have found some other things. This is a premium hiding enhanced capacitor. And this is a good insatiable enhanced capacitor. I don't know what these do. I don't even know if they'll fit in there. But hey, let's find out what happens. Oh my word. They have a lot of capacity. So let's pop one of those guys in there and see if we can... Nice. I wonder how fast they run. Oh my. That's nice. Now, iron without any kind of grinding ball will give you iron dust, cobalt, a little bit of nickel occasionally, and even less tin occasionally. Everything's going to give you a little bit of extra something. But this is one of the things I like. Cobblestone, you end up with a ton of cobblestone, right? Toss some cobblestone in there, and what you get is gravel and occasionally flint. Take some gravel and put it in there, and you get sand. And occasionally, didn't give me anything. Occasionally it'll give you side effects as well. Take sand and put it in there, and occasionally you'll get silicon from applied-energistics. Cool, huh? Flint also turns out to be a very basic grinding ball. So you can throw that in there. It'll use up a little bit of the flint and it'll give you even more output. Now, the flint adds in, it increases your primary output by 20%, your bonus output by 25%, and it decreases your power output, or power input required, which is a good thing. I'm going to throw those in there. Why not? Now, because we have the full alloy furnace, we now can actually choose the furnace mode. By default, it's alloys only. If you click, it turns to furnace only, and it will actually cook, for example, tin into a tin ingot, or nickel into nickel ingots, go figure. It also processes them 4 at a time. Sorry, 3 at a time. So that, notice it dropped from 20 to 17, and now it's going to put out 3 iron ingots. And it's really fast. I mean, it's a lot faster than the simple one by default, but with one of these upgrades, good grief, it is super fast, and I am very happy about that, at least when it has power, which it's kind of running low right now. And now we've got ourselves 20 iron ingots. Hooray! I'm going to go ahead and chuck those in there. I'm going to fill up these, not going to fill them up, but we're going to try to put as much power into these as we can and start processing stuff as fast as we can. I promised to tell you what the sulfur dust does. It's simple. There's actually a lot of things you can do with the sulfur dust, but the most important thing is you can turn it into blaze powder. And there are a few things that I wanted blaze powder for. I can't remember what a single one of them was now. Never mind. We'll get back to that later. I'll suddenly remember. Be like, oh, that's right. I wanted that for the... Yeah. Okay. Now, one of my favorite things about Ender.io is how inputs and outputs are configured. It's all built into the machine itself. For example, if I want, I can say pull in from there and push out to there. Pull in from there, push out to there. Actually, I think I'm going to do that differently. So pull in from there, push out to there, pull in from there, push out to there, and then I can put something in between these that filters, and it'll just be one process if I want. We'll get to that later. So let's start off with this. So I'm going to click this configure. If I left click and drag, it'll kind of let me move this around and look at what's connected. You can see it highlights when I hover. This button right here hides that in case it's kind of in your way. If you click on a side, if you right click on a side, it'll change from pull to push, both, which is really interesting, and disabled, which just means don't do anything. Don't even allow anything to push in here. For example, if you were to place a hopper on the side, it can't push through disabled, but it can push through none. For just a second, I want to do a push-pull scenario and explain what that's like. I almost forgot. We're going to also do, we're going to do push out of the top and into this. So if I grab myself some cobblestone, I'm going to grab 16 for a second, and we throw it in here. It pulls it in and starts processing it. Now, if we look up here, it's pushing up there. It looks like it's defaulting to pushing up there. So we may need to change how I'm doing that. Yeah, it's only pushing up, so it's defaulting to pushing up. So let's change this to push and pull. There you go. So now notice how it's now pulling the gravel down. Okay, and it's pushing sand up. And then it's pulling the sand. It's going to, when this is done, it's going to pull the sand back down. Also, all the gravel, or all the flint that's coming out of the gravel, is getting pushed up and then pulled down into the flint slot over here. And as soon as this last one is done, it's going to start grinding down all the sand. Now, I don't actually want it to do that. I want the sand. Sand is more useful than silicon for me right now, at least in any kind of quantity. But we now have a bunch of flint. Cool, huh? And we have nothing else. Now, I'm not going to do that normally. We're going to do pull from here and push to there. And then later on, like I said, we're going to actually pull things across and down and over. So over here, let's do the same thing. So this is going to be pull, and this is going to be push. Now I'm going to throw the sand up there because this is actually going to cook it into glass. Now I'd like to start working on grinding down all the stuff I've got, but I want to get the best I can from it. So let's start looking at these grinding balls. So we already know that flint will give us 120, 125, 85. If we look at some of the other ones in here, we just made some energetic alloy. So this right here is just 5 energetic alloy. We have enough of that left over. It's going to give us 25 of these grinding balls. That'll give us 160% of our primary output. That's pretty darn good, but it is going to use more power. So let's look at some of the other ones. 170, that's 135% power as well. If we want to use the least power possible, redstone alloy could be a good option. Dark steel is probably one of the best options. The main output is, about a third more. The bonus output is a lot, so especially if you're looking for that bonus extra thing. So for example, with gravel, it would be the flint that would be the bonus output. And it's going to use less power. Now, end steel, for obvious reasons, we need to go to the end first. We're not quite ready to do that. Looks like that's one of the best options out there is 160. And then there's 175% from vibrant alloy, but that's actually made from energetic and ender pearls. So let's go for energetic first. So let's pull that out. We're going to put this in. Now, flint by default is not grindable. So I can place it in here. And when this thing runs out of energetic alloys, it'll still at least pull in the flint. And that's good. Let's see what diamond will do. 2 diamonds. 2 diamonds. 3 diamonds. 4 diamonds. And 2 diamonds. Not too bad. 13 diamonds from 5 ore. I can handle that. Now, another one that I want to do is coal ore. Not as much for the coal itself, but the secondary output of coal is coal powder, and occasionally we will get sulfur. I thought, do we not get sulfur? Thought we would get some. Oh, there's a very small chance of getting diamond. No, it's actually from grinding the coal itself that gives it sulfur. I forgot. The next thing I want to start making, though, is dark steel. There's all kinds of fun things you can do with dark steel. And that is coal powder, obsidian, and iron, which right now, not an issue. Let's look at what we can do with dark steel. So dark plate, dark leggings, that kind of thing that you can upgrade by adding things in the anvil. So there's some really cool things, including glider wings. And you've probably seen that it's also a good material for Tinker's Construct. And we've run out of power. I think it's time to grab a little bit more food. And I think I've got a whole bunch to be able to make these beef Wellingtons, which are kind of ridiculously cheap and produce a pretty decent amount of power. Now, we are next episode going to be working on additional ways to get power. Hey, I actually got a diamond. Nice. Let's run our gold through this thing. I think we're going to get a decent amount, which would be nice. Yeah. Immediately, we got 4 gold from a single ore. Now, one of the other things I've been waiting on this mod being set up for is one of my favorite items. Is that not going to let me do that? Oh, right. It needs to be ingots. Soul sand and gold ingots will make solarium. And there's a lot of cool things you can do with solarium. Let's take a quick look. There's a few different things you can make from Ender.io. You can make these solarium grinder balls, which mainly are useful for bonus output. You can make soul vials, which are very similar to the golden lasso. But here's what I want to make, which is an experience rod. And then eventually from that, we can make an experience obelisk. But we're going to get to that later. There we go. And now we have an experience rod. And you might be wondering, what in the world do you do with an experience rod? Well, remember the fluid tank? We're going to go make another one of those real quick. There we go. And we're going to place this, oh, I don't know. Let's stick it here. The experience rod, if you shift right click on a tank, will put, apparently I had a lot of experience. It'll put all of your, it'll try to put all of your experience into that fluid tank as liquid XP. If you right click on it, it'll give you 1 level at a time. So you can have exactly the amount of levels that you want to have. Let's make another one of these guys. You might end up needing to upgrade this pretty soon. So shift right click and there we go. And just like with the machines, configure, and you can say, hey, I want you to push. And now it'll always max out the bottom one and then fill in the top one. So if I pull out of here, it's going to flow it down to there. If I shift right click up there, it's going to continue filling this until it can't fill it anymore. And there you go. You get the idea. So there's a couple of advantages to that. One is a lot of things require a certain number of levels, but each level costs more XP to get to. So if you have 8 levels and you need 4, it's taking the top 4, but those top 4 cost more to get than the bottom 4. So it's the most efficient use of your XP is to have exactly the number of levels that you need for whatever it is you're doing. The other nice thing about it is if you go off and die somewhere, you're not losing all of your XP that's not used. So, and then there are some other advantages here and there, which we will go into later. So I want to leave this somewhere. You know what? I'm going to leave it right here. There you go. We'll stick this somewhere else. Well, time sure flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? And oddly enough, I have fun when I fly. Is that a bad joke? Sorry. You know, these are what you get, okay? Anyway, come back next episode because it's going to be moving day. That's right. We are going to finally move up to our final location up on top of the anvil here. Just within sight of the village. And I'm going to make sure that I've got the basic setup here. We'll probably shave off the top of this a little bit and start setting up a castle and a workshop. And we're going to have some stuff to move, but we're also going to be spending some time looking at better power options because, you know, the culinary generator, it's a really good starting generator, but as we get more and more machines, we're going to need a lot more power, and I don't want to have to be constantly like producing massive quantities of food to run a whole bunch of culinary generators. That's just silly. Plus, we have a really cool mod in this pack called Extreme-Reactors, which is based off of an older mod called Big Reactors, which is one of my favorites. So more than likely, the first thing we'll put up there is a big reactor, and then we'll kind of build the castle around it. And we'll start that next episode. Sound good? I hope so, because that's what we're doing, whether you like it or not. If you enjoyed this episode, you know the drill. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, come by the Discord server, check out my Patreon page. Oh, I don't know. Help a little old lady across the street. Unless she doesn't want to go across the street, in which case, don't help her across the street and consider that a good deed. Yeah, okay, that's enough. I'll see you next time on Epiktek.